Hi, this is Angela Buffington, the president of Trinity River Blues Society, and I want to welcome you to my new podcast, Back History. And I'm super excited to have my guest, Tommy Katona, here. Welcome, Tommy.
Hi, Angela. Thank you for having me.
I'm glad to have you. So tell me, what's your experience with Trinity River Blues Society?
Well, I've been in the Dallas scene for about 18 years. I moved here from Hungary. I was born and raised there, and moved here in 2007. And within a few weeks, I started making friends, and I got involved with a lot of musicians who have been part of the society. So I just got welcomed in.
And I met you, Tommy. Yeah, you probably don't remember this, but I met you at the Tavern on Main years ago when you first came here. And
Oh,
I was
really?
like, yes, you probably don't remember that, but
At the
I do.
tavern?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
love
was
that
dating
place.
someone at the time, and they introduced us. And I was like, he's like, he's into Stevie Ray Vaughan and stuff.
Yeah.
So tell me, how did you get into that? As a person from another country, how did you get into Stevie Ray?
Well, Stevie was quite big in Europe, and my father was a guitar player. He had a lot of great music at home, and when I was a little boy, about 4 or 5 years old, he was playing all these VHS tapes, and he used to record a lot of shows from like German TV shows, whatever we had at that time, because we were on the other side of the Iron Curtain, right? And I remember one day he was playing this show called Ohne Filter, which was a German TV show with various great musicians. And this one guy caught my eyes as a little kid, wearing a white hat with a ruby in the middle and playing a white guitar and just smoking. And I asked my dad, "Who's this guy?" He said, "Stevie Ray Vaughan." And I fell in love pretty much instantly with Stevie and his music. And a few years later, my dad told me that he unfortunately passed away. And growing up, because I was like 6 years old at the time, so growing up, I started to realize what that meant, that Stevie was gone, and it really hurt me a lot as a little boy, and I felt like it was just not fair that he's not with us anymore. So I had this urge or a mission as a little kid that I wanted to be like Stevie, and one day come to Dallas, Texas, and meet a lot of people who knew him and play for his people, his crowd, and that's what I did. I ended up moving over here, and long story short, I grew up with Stevie's music, and I was such a nerd, not just about his music, but I wanted to know everything about him, and I found out that he was one of the sweetest people on earth, and everybody talks about him with nothing but love. And he had a strong message about love, and especially after he got clean and sober, he really found God, and he was doing the right thing, and he was spreading the love, and even one of the last songs that he ever made was TikTok, and he sent that message, "Time's ticking away," and he kept saying, he was doing those speeches during one of his songs, "Life Without You," where he was talking about love, and that's all we have, and we need to help each other. And it always meant a lot to me, and I'm just trying to follow that route.
So let me ask you, so have you studied any of his mentors? Has he had people that guided him? And so tell me how they influenced you, because I know they influenced him a lot, but so tell me how they influenced you.
Oh yeah. So so after I got into Stevie, right around the same time, I found out about Albert Collins, and that's what brought Michael King and me together, because Albert Collins is his favorite hero, and I was obsessed with Albert Collins when I was 9 years old. So I knew about Albert. And then a little bit later, I got to know this gentleman. His name is Eb Davis, and he's from West Memphis originally. He was born in West Memphis, moved to Germany, and he's become the German and European ambassador of the blues, Ebele Davis. And I got to play with him when I was 10 years old in 95. He came to Hungary and started coming regularly, like a couple of times a year to play with us. My father's band, and I was a member of the band already. I started very early. I was like 7 years old. And Eb Davis was like a mentor to me. And he saw me play, you know, I was trying to play Stevie Ray Vaughan stuff, you know, at the age of 10, you know. And he said, "Hey, listen, that's all nice and everything, but you need to learn from the same guys that Stevie learned from." So he started sending me from Germany and like envelopes. He started sending me these envelopes of tapes, B.B. King, Howlin Wolf, you know, and Albert King. And he said, "Listen to Albert King." And when I started listening to Albert King, I thought it was Stevie at first. I was like, "Wow, that sounds so similar." And then, you know, I found out more about Albert, and of course, I started listening to all of these, you know, the old blues masters, all the Kings, and Albert Collins and Buddy Guy, and I found out about all of Stevie's influences, not just the blues, but he had jazz influences too, right? And so I was just trying to learn from everybody. And then, you know, don't forget Lonnie Mack. He was one of the biggest influence on Stevie. So I was just trying to do the same thing and did my best to learn from each and every one of them. And I'm still doing it
So
today.
let me ask you this question. So you said that's how you and Mike King became together. So when did y'all meet, and you know, how did y'all connect? Because you have a strong kind of bond. Tell me, how did y'all meet, and you know, was it over, you know, a song, or you know, or what? How did y'all connect? Because y'all are really tight. So how did
Thank
that
you.
happen?
Yeah. Well, we're great friends, and we've met a long time ago. Actually, I was gonna say like about 15, at least 15 years ago or something like that. And there used to be a jam every Thursday at the Cadillac Pizza Pub in McKinney. So I used to be there as a featured guest with Buzz Andrews, and Michael walked in one day, and he was playing drums too, but he started playing guitar too, and we started talking, and turns out that he was a huge Albert Collins fanatic. I was like, great, finally somebody, because before him, I don't think I've ever met anybody who was so obsessed with Albert Collins like me, and you know, studying his style, which is very kind of unique and unorthodox way to play, you know, and so we connected back then, and we saw each other back then, and jammed on several occasions. And then he moved away for a few years, and then he moved back into the Dallas area, and we started meeting again, and we ended up like playing in the same band, and that's how we ended up at the Blues Challenge.
So tell me a little more about that, because everybody was like, "Oh, you know, yeah, I did the Blues Challenge." So, you know, what made you want to do the Trinity River Blues North Texas Challenge?
Well, I am I'm very open, and I'm always up for a new adventure, and I've been doing a lot of the, you know, our things, which was like the Stevie Ray Vaughan tribute, which we still do, but you know, I write original music too, and we do different covers. So I'm like very open, and I just wanted to try something different, and Mike was, you know, he kindly asked me to do this with him, and I'm very grateful that we entered, and we ended up winning. So that means a lot. So
So I want to
Thank
ask
you.
you. I want to touch on with something you just
Hmm.
said. You said that you were you doing original. So tell us about your originals, because a lot of people don't think you do original music. They think you just do the Stevie Ray Vaughan, but they don't know how deep and how depth you are. So explain that.
Oh yeah, so I've had original songs from the past. I recorded an original album back in 2006 when I was still living in Hungary, and then a year after I moved here. So I've got a full album from back then, and throughout the years I wrote a few songs, and actually yeah, I just released a single not too long ago, a few months ago. It was a brand new song. I started writing it last year, and we recorded and released it a few months ago, actually. And it's called Up and Forward, and it's on Spotify and YouTube Music and all the platforms. And that song is very special to me because that was like a that's my story on what happened to me, because I went through some things that ironically
Right, we all
Stevie
do.
went
Yeah,
through.
exactly.
So
We all
I've
have a story.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I've had some troubles. I had a little. I partied a little too hard at
Yeah.
times, and I got stuck, and didn't really know how to get out of it until you know I broke down, and I ended up in a hospital. And after then, I changed up my life and quit drinking forever. And thank God
Yeah, we all
that
have a
I'm.
story. I mean, that's what people don't realize. It's always I like these interviews and these stories, and that's the thing about the back history, that we learn everybody's story, because we all have a story. I mean,
Yeah.
they don't know what it takes that we go through to put on these shows or these podcasts.
Hmm.
Even me, I'm on the business side, but they don't realize what it goes through. We
Right.
go through to put this stuff on. So
Yeah.
it's always good to share everybody's stories and everything, so people can know that you
Absolutely.
too can do this, and don't be afraid to do it, because
Yeah.
we all have
Yeah. Anybody can
journey.
do it.
Yeah.
And after all that happened to me, I really changed up my whole perspective about my life, and I really just want to do the right thing and help others if they need any help. So I'm always open to talk about this and what happened, and hopefully I can be a good influence for some people.
So tell me about like some of the kids that you're a mentor that's coming up.
Well, I made some really good friends, like Isaiah Foreman. I met him a few years ago, and he's a super talented boy, and I'm just blown away
Yeah.
by his talents. Not just one talent, but he's
Yeah.
multi-talented. He can draw and paint and play all kinds of different instruments, and he obviously mastered the guitar, because just incredible. And I remember I met him the first time at Jimmy Wallace's Guitars. I was just there seeing my guitar tech Spencer, um, and I heard somebody playing Pride and Joy
Yes.
the right way.
Yeah. Exactly.
The right way. I'm
Yeah.
like, whoa, that sounds really good. So I peeked out and I saw this little 14-year-old kid sitting there on an amp and just jamming on Pride and Joy and sounding great. And he turns around, he looks at me and is like, he's like surprised, like,
Yeah,
I
he was
didn't know that you lived here. Like he knew who I was, and that was so awesome that we just connected right away. I was like, you sound awesome. So he started coming out to our shows and sat in with me, and we had jammed several times, and I'm just so happy to see him keep on growing and creating a lot of great content. He's on social media all the time, putting things out, and he's very present, and I'm just so happy to see him.
So because Grandmama Bear, that's what I call myself. I met him, and then I told him, this is what you gotta do for social media. So then it's like, let me show you how to do that. And then when I met him, he didn't sing or anything. He just we were coming out of COVID, and but he played like 6 horns. He's playing six horns. He's playing drums and stuff. And so then he says, "Well, what am I gonna do? I'm locked up. I'm bored." So his granddaddy, who's a musician as well, says, "Well, let me show you a few things." He says, once I showed him a few things, he just took over. And then he didn't sing when I met him. I said, "You do know you can sing. You're gonna have to sing." I mean, I didn't give him an option. I said, "You're gonna sing to be in a competition," and he was in a competition and he won it.
Yeah, that
And
was
then
the
he
right
says, "Well, I
thing.
don't sing as well." Like, "Oh, just keep practicing. You'll be good, and you'll be fine." And so, but yeah, he's just like our little baby, and stuff. And I told him, I said, when you get famous, don't remember, just roll me out of my little wheelchair, and I'm just gonna wave, and that means I had a good time. And but you're right. He's phenomenal.
He is
He can do
incredible.
everything. His dad. He's got the drawing side from his dad, and then his granddad played all these instruments, and so it's just in his blood. His parents are just wonderful, and
Oh yeah,
I'm so
that's
glad
sweet.
that
So sweet.
I helped him get out there because I don't know how to say no.
Yeah.
So I just push you out there, like even if
Yeah.
you don't want to, even you're like, go ahead, So yeah, it's all about giving back to the youth. I think
Yeah. Oh yeah.
it's the future.
Absolutely.
So tell me, how do you feel about the blues, and how do because you could have did rock and you could did a whole lot of other things. So why do you stay in the blues? Because a lot of times people feel like there's no money in the blues. So why do you stay in it?
Well, it's been part of my life. It's been really my life. Like I moved here to America for that because I just connected with the blues when I was a little kid. Like I said, my father, he was an incredible guitar player, so he had such fire and the passion and the soul that grabbed me. And with his influence and Stevie's influence early on, it really determined my future, like pretty early on. And I just love it so much, and I resonate with it. I feel it because I've been through some things. Like, I mean, everybody goes through
Right, exactly.
bad times, and blues was like an outlet. And even when I was little, I was upset a lot of times because I had some troubles in school, not behavior, but
Right.
like I didn't really connect with the kids that much because I just stood out. Like, imagine a Hungarian little boy, trying to play the blues, and nobody understood what was going on in my school. It's like, you play what? Like, what is blues? I'm like, ah.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I just felt kind of like an outcast. I was, and I just couldn't wait to get home and play my guitar because that was my comfort zone, and listen to the blues, and a lot of Stevie obviously back then, but it gave me peace always.
I
And
understand that because I was considered a weirdo too in school. I mean, I was just always different. I beat to my own different drum, and they're like, "There's something wrong with her," And my mother would even say, "Oh, I had her, but she's odd," So you're right. So I think that
yeah,
people have a different passion or stuff that you consider like different, but you are different. And
yeah,
I hated that when I was growing up, but now I embrace it. That yes, I am different because I'm supposed to be different.
yes, absolutely. It's totally fine to be
Yeah, it's
different.
fine now, but as a
Normal is
kid,
boring.
yeah, it's boring. You get bullied in school, but
Right.
hey, and then you come to find out that other people that do well or something, they went through the same thing. They were always different. There's
Yeah.
something about you that makes you different.
Yeah.
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 And so you play all over the place. You loved all over the place. And so when you get to Memphis, what are you gonna, what is your mindset? Because you're Tommy Katona. Everybody's like, it's Tommy Katona. It's going to Memphis. So tell me, what are you gonna do with Mike King and the Icebreakers, and what do y'all have the wow factor that you're gonna, win this competition? Because you're gonna win it. You're gonna bring it home for Trinity. We never had a winner before, but we're gonna bring it home to North Texas. So tell me, what do y'all have in store? You don't have to give me the whole show, but just whatever y'all been rehearsing and going to bring that wow factor.
Well, it's gonna be a very nice variety, I think. Um, People will enjoy it, and Mike and I really cooperate very well together, and we're gonna go back and forth and take some solos, um, and we're gonna do our best to bring back all of our heroes and their spirits including Albert Collins and Stevie and Albert King. And one of my biggest guitar heroes is Gary Moore. And we both love Gary Moore, and because he could play the blues and he played with all the blues greats. And so yeah, we're doing a nice mixture, a nice blend of all these people and their styles.
Yeah, because when you go there, they always, that's what they're looking for, like people that do original music. And I mean, you can do some covers, but they like the original, and just pay homage to the old greats, and have like maybe the dress of them and just the spirit. You can feel the spirit moving throughout the building with all these artists, because you're gonna have people from Japan and all over the world there.
Oh yeah,
it's shocking. Because, so what do you think about, because you're European, right?
Yes.
And so tell me, how do you feel about, like, people here in America don't appreciate the blues music as much as they do in Europe? And why do you think that is?
Because it's from here. Because a lot of people, I guess they grow up and they hear it, and it's very normal, and a lot of people, I think, they kind of take it for granted. But for us, and as a European, I can tell you, listening to the blues, and that it's very special, and it was unique, and we have a blues scene in Hungary, and lots of fans. So it's definitely, it's more of a specialty over there. I mean, there's European blues and British blues, but it all comes from here, from America. And when I got to know about these old blues masters, I just wanted to be here and check it out, and I wanted to feel it, and I wanted to go out to all those places so I can soak up all the mojo, And but there's that difference is I think it's because it's from here, from this country.
Yeah, because for me,
so it's more normal.
Yeah, well, for me too, like for the African American culture, they view the blues a little bit differently in a way. They it's like they think it's sad or it's bad times, which a lot of it, that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
But I'm always explaining that it doesn't have to be sad. It doesn't have to be about different other bad things that happen. Because a lot of times I'm always trying to explain that. Like, why do you do the blues? We don't want to hear that kind of stuff. But I told them most of the time, it's not that way, because I do a lot of public speaking, and I tell them that all the music that you listen to comes from the blues. The blues had babies, and she had rock and all these other things, and so you'd be surprised at what you're listening to that has blues chords and different things in it.
Oh yeah.
So I'm always explaining that to them, to try to, because that's part of Trinity's thing, is to keep the blues alive, and we do blues in schools and stuff to try to keep people educated, so we won't let this art form die.
Yeah, no, that's the right thing to do, and yeah, and you're right. Blues is the roots of everything, all modern music today. Yeah, and people need to remember that.
Yeah, because you'd be surprised. I was like, I don't want to listen to that. I'm like, oh, you listen to it now. I mean, even in the rap songs, and that's what I like about the movie Sinners. I know it's about vampires, but you got to get past all of that. But if you just listen to the stories that they tell, they start out in one of the scenes. They start out with from Africa and all this stuff, and how it goes into rap and jazz and all these things. So it's fascinating. Blues is fascinating.
It really is.
If you really get into it, and embrace it and feel the roots of the music. Because for me, as an African American, my great grandfather, we used to sit out on the porch in the country, and he'd go, he'd be like, 1, 2, 3, and boosh, boosh, and we all know, like, oh, here he goes. But he was singing this stuff and telling us all these stories.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just fascinating. The life that he lived in was telling us through those blues songs, and telling us how to appreciate our history and all this stuff. So it was just fascinating. Blues is fascinating if people would just realize the storytelling in itself.
Yeah. No, I bet. I wish I could have seen that.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it was phenomenal.
That's amazing.
So I'm glad to have Tommy Katona here as my special guest. This is my first podcast, and welcome to Angela Buffington's backstory, the president of the Trinity River Blues Society. And so, thank you for tuning in.